Everyone seems to be leaving America these days. Well, I just moved in.
The people that came in, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets of the people that live.
I'm writing this from California, and maybe precisely because so many people are convinced it is the worst place on earth, this might be the greatest opportunity of the decade. I have made this bet before, 3 times in fact, on 3 different continents. And let me show you the pattern I am observing here again. I was born in France, and it gave me something real, an education, a framework to think, a sense of history, and a few particular beliefs. France is one of the birthplaces of modern ideas like democracy or meritocracy. And the idea of where you end up in your life should not depend on what your father is, but on what you do. And here is the thing that stayed with me. My fiancée, who did not grow up in the US, had never heard of the word meritocracy. She's never heard about the Declaration of the Human Rights before. Not because she's not brilliant, she's one of the sharpest person I've ever known, but because those ideas are not universal. And once you realize that your beliefs are not shared by everyone, you stop taking it for granted and you start asking what you are going to do with it. Personally, what I did with these is that I started to ask myself, why not? Getting out of business school, Asia was really not the first choice for most of my colleagues and friends. Number one, you will think about being in London, in La City, doing finance, or being in New York, doing some consulting with BCG, but really not going to Singapore or Shanghai. Because in the mind of my peers at the time, Asia was really not welcoming. This was not a place where you can just go and get a nice job and make contacts. This is a very closed-loop network where if you're not having an uncle or a family relationship in Asia, well, you're not going to make it there. On top of that, Asia always had a reputation to have a rocky political situation. So it was not a first choice, not a second choice for anyone around me. And what I saw was that Asia were true digital native, with a huge adoption of e-commerce and the internet in shapes that us Europeans would have never imagined back then. Hundreds of millions of people whose first computer was a smartphone. The e-commerce playbook being completely reinvented to localized shapes where right now with super apps, you can order any products at any time of the day and receive it within an hour at your doorstep. In the meantime, by every structural measures, I was not supposed to be able to build anything there by myself. A career was probably impossible, and starting a company there was really out of the blue. And thanks to several people, I did it anyway. And I made it because a handful of people gave me why not as a chance when they really had no obligations to. These people who looked at me as an outsider and decided to open their doors instead of guarding it. Everything I built in Asia, I built on those chances. I have never forgotten that the whole thing turned around completely where a few people gave me the willingness to help me.
Ellen DeGeneres is saying goodbye to the USA.
Fresh new data shows 1 in 5 Americans would like to leave the country.
People are entitled to feel however they feel about the United States. The huge debt they have is real, the division is real. I'm not here to argue with anyone out of their disappointment. I'm here to tell you what I see when I look at the numbers instead of the headlines. The United States capture roughly 81% of all the global venture capital investments of the first quarter of 2026. More than 8 out of $10 invested in the future of any industry on Earth went into the United States. Companies that were venture-backed before going public in the US now account for 42% of the total value of the US stock market. And 94% of all the research and development in the innovation spending by public companies found in the past 50 years are in the United States. The innovation economy is not a slice of America. It is America. The US is the #1 destination for family offices capital worldwide. From Asia Pacific, from Europe, anywhere. If you are a family office that have a decent number of capital ready to be deployed, you are going to push this capital to the United States. The money that the wealthiest family on the planet are moving, they are moving it into the United States. And there is a reason for that. And lastly, when global billionaires diversify into hard assets, American land and American properties sit at the top of the list, always. The people with the most information and the most to lose are buying in the US, not out, anytime soon. Read those numbers again, and then read the timeline of celebrities announcing their departures. The people leaving are reacting to how the country feels. The people arriving, the family offices, the capital flooding behind them are responding to what the country is producing at the moment and the future it is shaping. Both things are true at once. America can be politically exhausting, partially at the moment. And at the same time, it is the single greatest concentration of capital, innovation, and opportunity in the human history. It's been both true at once for most of its existence. When everyone leaves a gold mine, the gold does not disappear. The competition does. The people walking out are not taking the opportunity with them. They are clearing the field. The room is getting emptier at the exact moment that it is getting richer. This is not a coincidence you should complain about. It is a coincidence you should exploit. So I did not move to California in spite of the exodus. I moved because of it. In 1849, people crossed an ocean to arrive in America with a pickaxe and a prayer to dig gold out of Californian hills. The gold this time is not in the ground. It is in cap tables. It is in private rounds of the companies that will define the next 50 years infrastructure. The SpaceX, the Anthropic, the Figure AI, the companies that are creating an entire new market privately before the public even gets invited in. This is private equity. That is the mine. Positioning yourself and your own capital into equity of the infrastructures of the next century, accumulated at a private price in one country, capturing 80% of the world innovation capital, this is your opportunity. This is our opportunity. This is our gold mine. And it could be your gold mine too. This is the least crowded space it has been in years because everyone else is looking at leaving to other countries. Maybe this is the one last chance for you to be part of this future. We are building the tools to let you dig. Curated access to pre-IPO and private allocations alongside the family offices we work with. And one day, maybe, we will help you own land too. Physical, resilient assets that only the smart money at the moment is quietly accumulating. So here's the thing. You do not have to move to the US right now because we've done that for you. You don't have to cross the ocean, move your entire family. We're here in the gold mine. And guess what? There is a door awaiting for you here with your name on it. And this door is the access to this potential wealth creation. We're doing that for you here by scouting deals, by building the tools that enable you to access this private equity to dig this gold mine, alongside some of the wealthiest family offices that access curated pre-IPO opportunities in companies that you would not have a seat at a table normally. Your turn to finally get to say why not.